If you ever laughed out loud at the hilarious lines from The Big Bang Theory, you've probably also wondered what the real lives of the cast members are like now, away from the spotlight and applause. Nearly 2 decades since the film's release, each has chosen their own path, some still shining brightly, some quietly withdrawing from the spotlight, and some stories that surprise fans. Have any of them faced heartbreaking hardships? And what really goes on behind the scenes for familiar faces like Jim Parsons, Kaylee Cuoco, or Johnny Galecki? Let's explore the then and now journey of this legendary cast, where not only is there the glitz and glamour of success, but also hidden aspects that few know about. If you want to delve deeper into the dark side behind fame, the rarely discussed truths, don't forget to subscribe today, because this is just the beginning, and Hollywood has more secrets than you might think. Amy Farrah Fowler doesn't appear in The Big Bang Theory as an immediate, impactful character, but she gradually becomes a key figure in altering the emotional trajectory of the story. Played by Mayim Bialik, born on December 12, 1975, in San Diego, and around 35 years old when she first appears, she quickly becomes a surprisingly fitting addition to Sheldon Cooper's character. Initially, Amy seems like a mirror image of Sheldon, logical, dry, socially awkward, and almost emotionally detached. However, it is her journey of self-development that is truly remarkable. From a withdrawn and aloof individual, Amy gradually learns to open up to friendship, love, and the need to connect with others. More importantly, she not only transforms herself, but also becomes a factor in Sheldon's gradual learning to understand and empathize with emotions. Their relationship isn't loud or dramatic, but it possesses subtle depth and is considered one of the most authentic storylines in the entire series. By 2026, Mayim Bialik is 50 years old and continues to work in many fields outside of acting. She previously co-hosted Jeopardy! Before leaving the position in 2023. Despite the many changes in her career for global audiences, Amy Farrah Fowler remains an irreplaceable figure, an intelligent, unique woman, and proof that love doesn't have to start perfectly, but can still develop into something beautiful. Emily Sweeney, Raj's dermatologist girlfriend in The Big Bang Theory, brings a completely different nuance to his previous relationships. This character, played by Laura Spencer, born in 1986 in Oklahoma City, was around 28 when she joined the series. She quickly made an impression with her gentle appearance, but also her very unique personality. Unlike the typical safe archetypes, Emily possesses a mysterious, sometimes dark side, along with unusual hobbies and a rather bold outlook on life. This makes her an interesting contrast to Rajesh Koothrappali, who is sensitive, emotional, and always drawn to romance. Emily not only empathizes with Raj, but is also willing to challenge their relationship, making their love story both captivating and unpredictable. By 2026, Laura Spencer will be 39 years old and still active in acting. Although not the final destination in Raj's romantic journey, Emily still left a distinct mark because she opened up a more mature, complex, and realistic aspect of his world of love. Wil Wheaton appeared in The Big Bang Theory in a very special way. He didn't embody a fictional character, but played himself in a deliberately exaggerated version. Born on July 29, 1972, in Burbank, California, Wheaton was around 35 years old when he first appeared and quickly became one of Sheldon Cooper's most unlikable adversaries. Initially, the character of Wil Wheaton was portrayed as an annoying name, cunning, manipulative, and always frustrating Sheldon. However, what made the character more interesting over time was the change in their relationship, from intense antagonism to respect and even friendship. Wheaton's ability to naturally, humorously, and charmingly self-deprecate allowed him to fully integrate into the world of the film, creating a unique image in popular culture associated with this group of friends. By 2026, Wil Wheaton will be 53 years old and still a familiar face in the fan community and entertainment industry. Although not a recurring role, this character has left a distinct mark, because not many people can transform themselves into a sitcom character that is both annoying and endearing in such a unique way. The Big Bang Theory has created many memorable characters, but Debbie Wolowitz has a unique mark. Although she never appeared directly on screen, she became an indispensable part of the story. As Howard Wolowitz's mother, Debbie was primarily voiced by Carol and Susie from 2007 onwards, quickly making a strong impression on viewers. With just her vibrant voice, Debbie Wolowitz comes across as a mother who is both humorous and somewhat domineering towards her son, always caring for and controlling Howard in her characteristic way, yet still clearly showing her love. Her loud remarks, overprotective habits, and invisible presence have become a familiar comedic highlight of the series, creating an image that is both relatable and unforgettable. Although she never appeared on screen, this character contributed to deepening the relationship between Howard Wolowitz and his mother, allowing viewers to both laugh and feel the family bond hidden behind everyday humorous situations. When Carol and Susie passed away on November 11, 2014, at the age of 62 after battling cancer, the loss left a huge void for the cast and crew as well as fans. The Big Bang Theory then chose to handle the characters' passing in a gentle, subtle way, without being ostentatious, yet still creating a poignant feeling. Debutix Wolowitz may never have appeared on screen, but she became one of the most unforgettable presences of the series, leaving a deep impression on viewers through her familiar lines and laughter. V.M. Koothrappali, the wealthy, successful father who also places high expectations and pressure on Raj, offers a different perspective on family in The Big Bang Theory. This character is played by Brian George, born in London in 1952, and first appeared in 2007 when he was around 55 years old. Although not a frequent presence, Mr. Koothrappali's appearances leave a strong impression. With his calm yet stern demeanor, he represents the immense expectations, the pressure to succeed, and the privileges Raj grew up with. The dialogues between father and son, sometimes humorous, sometimes subtly sarcastic, help the audience understand Raj's personality: sensitive, easily swayed, dependent on his family, but always yearning for self-affirmation. As of 2026, Brian George is 73 years old and continues to maintain a stable acting career in both comedy and drama. Although not the central character, Mr. Koothrappali still contributes to enriching the story's depth, showing that behind the laughter are multi-layered family relationships that are both intimate and very relatable. Bert Kibbler wasn't a character who immediately caught attention in The Big Bang Theory, but he's the kind of character that gradually wins over audiences as the series progresses. Played by Brian Posehn, born in 1966 in California and around 47 years old when he first appeared, he portrays a somewhat awkward and socially insecure geologist, yet incredibly sincere. Bert's unique quality doesn't lie in his superior intellect or striking personality, but in his naturally simple kindness. Amidst a group of brilliant scientists with large egos and underlying competition, Bert makes an impression in a completely different way: naive, honest, and always kind to those around him. This contrast creates a distinct comedic tone: gentle, unpretentious, yet enough to make viewers smile and feel comfortable. By 2026, Brian Posehn will be 59 years old and still active in stand-up comedy and acting. Bert may only be a recurring supporting character, but he shows that sometimes, amidst brilliant minds, it is sincerity and kindness that make a person truly memorable. Rajesh Koothrappali, or Raj, is not only the awkward astronomer in The Big Bang Theory, but also one of the most emotionally rich and memorable characters in the entire series. Played by Kunal Nair, born April 30th, 1981, in London, England, he was only 26 when he first took on this career-changing role. From the very first episodes, Raj made his mark with his selective silence, unable to converse with women without a little catalyst. But what truly captivated viewers was his inner depth. Behind his shyness and the sometimes comical, sometimes pitiful situations lies an incredibly sensitive soul. Raj loves beauty, cherishes romance, is fascinated by the starry sky, and always yearns for a genuine relationship. He doesn't hesitate to express his emotions, sometimes even more fragile than his friends like Sheldon Cooper or Howard Wolowitz. But it's this authenticity that makes him so relatable and down-to-earth. Over time, Raj has changed significantly. From an insecure, dependent person, he learned to confront his fears and matured both in thought and emotion. Although his love journey was fraught with difficulties and didn't have the happy ending he hoped for, it's a very real reflection. Not everyone finds perfect love, but everyone can grow after heartbreak. By 2026, Kunal Nair will be 44 years old and still actively involved in film, television, and voice acting. Despite appearing in many new projects to millions of viewers worldwide, he remains Raj, the dreamy, sincere guy, and perhaps the one who loves most deeply but is also the loneliest among his friends. Leonard Hofstadter, an experimental physicist with a simple exterior but a complex inner world, is the balancing force of the group in The Big Bang Theory. This character, played by Johnny Galecki, was born on April 30th, 1975, in Brie, Belgium, and was around 32 years old when the series first aired. From the very first episodes, Leonard isn't the eccentric genius like Sheldon, but rather a more practical kind of intelligence, approachable, relatable, and very down-to-earth. What makes Leonard special isn't just his intellect, but also his deeply human anxieties, a constant feeling of not being good enough, family wounds, and emotional turmoil. It's this combination of rationality and vulnerability that makes him the character audiences can most empathize with. The on and off relationship with Penny not only provided many humorous moments, but also marked a journey of emotional growth, from misunderstandings and separations to learning to understand and bond within their marriage. By 2026, Johnny Galecki will be 50 years old. Although he no longer appears on screen as frequently as before, his mark as Leonard remains irreplaceable. If Sheldon Cooper was the genius mind, Leonard was the heart, the one who kept everything on track, the one who helped the group of eccentric personalities come together and gradually form a true family. Sheldon Cooper, a brilliant theoretical physicist with exceptional intellect, unconventional principles, and the famous catchphrase, Bazinga, is the most distinctive element of The Big Bang Theory. This character is impressively portrayed by Jim Parsons, born on March 24, 1973, in Houston, Texas, and he was 34 years old when he first took on this pivotal role. From the very first episodes, Sheldon was completely different from previous sitcom characters, extremely intelligent but rigidly, almost mechanically, in his way of life. However, Sheldon's true appeal doesn't lie in making him a laughingstock for his eccentricity, but in how the show gradually helps the audience understand and empathize with him. Sheldon's intellect isn't exploited for ridicule, but is presented from a more humanistic perspective. Behind the strict rules, the obsession with order, and the fear of change lies a man who struggles to express his emotions and connect with others. It is the relationships around him, especially his friendship with Leonard Hofstadter and his love for Amy Farah Fowler, that gradually helps Sheldon change. He learns to understand, share, and open up slowly but genuinely, without losing his essence, but growing stronger from his differences. By 2026, Jim Parsons will be 53 years old and still hold a significant position in the entertainment industry, from television and film to Broadway. His role as narrator in Young Sheldon allows him to continue his connection with the character in a very different, nostalgic way. For millions of viewers, Sheldon was not just an eccentric genius, but also proof that even the most unconventional people can learn to love and be loved. Stuart Bloom, the comic book store owner with a rather inconspicuous presence in the early seasons of The Big Bang Theory, gradually became one of the most memorable supporting characters. Played by Kevin Sussman, Born in 1970 in New York, he was around 36 years old when he first appeared, portraying a shy, somewhat eccentric man plagued by bad luck. Initially, Stuart was often remembered as a source of laughter through a series of unfortunate situations. However, as the series progressed, the character evolved beyond mere humor, exploring his emotions in greater depth. His loneliness, feelings of being left behind, and the search for connection became apparent, transforming his stories from lighthearted to poignant. By 2026, Kevin Sussman was 55 years old and still pursuing his acting career. Stuart may not be the central character, but he is the one who leaves a lasting impression because he represents ordinary, vulnerable people, always trying to find their place and connection in a world that isn't always easy or warm. Not every character in The Big Bang Theory is loved by audiences. Some seem born to be annoying, and Barry Kripke is a prime example. This character, portrayed by John Ross Bowie, was born in 1971 in New York, and he was around 37 years old when Kripke first appeared. Almost immediately, Kripke became Sheldon Cooper's familiar nightmare. With his distinctive voice, overconfident attitude, and sarcastic demeanor, Kripke was not only a rival at Caltech, but also someone who constantly sought to embarrass or anger Sheldon. He didn't need to be intellectually superior. Kripke's strength lay in his cunning, his ability to play mind games, and his enjoyment of annoying others. It's noteworthy that Kripke wasn't portrayed in a way that made him likable or had a clear transformation. He remained virtually unchanged from beginning to end, a troublemaker, a winner, and someone who reveled in the chaos he created. However, it was precisely this unchanging nature that made the character unique, a highly entertaining contrast in the film's otherwise logic and science-driven world. As of 2026, John Ross Bowie is 54 years old and still active in comedy and television. Though not the central character, Barry Kripke is remembered as the most reliable annoyance expert, always appearing at the right moment to deliberately derail things. Bernadette Rostenkowski, a microbiologist and wife of Howard Wolowitz, played by Melissa Rauch, is one of the most memorable characters in The Big Bang Theory. With her distinctive high-pitched voice, charming wit, and sharp wit, Bernadette quickly becomes a crucial element after appearing as Penny's colleague. She provides an interesting balance to the group of characters, being both humorous and decisive, while her love story, marriage to Howard, and increasingly successful career further deepen the narrative. Melissa Rauch, born on June 23, 1980, in Marlborough, New Jersey, was approximately 29 years old when she joined The Big Bang Theory in 2009. Prior to that, she was known for her natural comedic talent, having appeared in Bridesmaids and voiced Family Guy, showcasing her versatility. As of 2025, at age 44, Melissa Rauch continues to maintain a stable and prominent career in both television and film, particularly excelling in comedic roles and voice acting. She has become a familiar face in the entertainment industry, remembered by audiences for her versatility and charm in each role. Mary Cooper, Sheldon's devout and loving mother, played by Laurie Metcalf, born 1955, is one of the most emotionally resonant family characters in The Big Bang Theory. She appears around 52 years old and brings a completely different nuance to the story: tenderness, tolerance, and unconditional love for her son. Mary is one of the few who can truly touch Sheldon Cooper without trying to change his nature or worldview. As of 2026, Laurie Metcalf will be 70 years old and is still considered one of the most talented and enduring actors of her generation, with her versatile acting abilities and impressive depth. Beverly Hofstadter, Leonard's mother, is the quintessential example of coldness, rationality, and analytical rather than emotional depth in The Big Bang Theory. This character, portrayed by Christine Baranski, born in 1952, appears around 55 years old, bringing a scientific, parenting style that lacks warmth and family affection. This approach profoundly influences Leonard Hofstadter's psyche, creating numerous tense and humorous situations in her own unique way. As of 2026, Christine Baranski is 73 years old and continues to be highly regarded for her enduring career on both stage and television, solidifying her position as a veteran actress with a refined and insightful acting style. President Siebert, the headmaster of Caltech, played by Joshua Malina, born in 1966, often appears as the only adult remaining calm amidst a chaotic group of geniuses. With his composed demeanor and subtly dry, humorous dialogue, he strives to maintain order in an environment where control is sometimes like herding a cat, both impossible and challenging. By 2026, Joshua Malina will be 60 years old and still actively working on television, continuing to make his mark with his sharp, natural acting and subtle satire. Zack Johnson appears in The Big Bang Theory as a surprising highlight, Penny's handsome ex-boyfriend, but not particularly intellectually brilliant. This character, played by Brian Thomas Smith, was born in 1977 and was around 33 years old when he first appeared. From the beginning, Zack is portrayed as a clear contrast to the group of geniuses, not strong in science, not quick-witted in debate, but instead friendly and incredibly easygoing. Interestingly, this very lack of calculation becomes Zack's unique strength. He doesn't try to show off, doesn't engage in complex competitions or rivalries, but simply lives authentically, positively, and approachably. The contrast between him and characters like Leonard Hofstadter or Sheldon Cooper creates many naturally humorous situations and helps Zack gradually win over the group's affection, especially as he becomes more attached to them. By 2026, Brian Thomas Smith is 48 years old and still active in television and film. Zack may not be the smartest person in the room, but his simplicity and sincerity make him one of the most lovable and memorable characters in the series. Priya Koothrappali, Raj's intelligent and confident younger sister, brings a more mature, realistic, and somewhat sharper nuance to The Big Bang Theory. This character, played by Artie Mann, born in 1978, is around 32 years old when she first appears and quickly becomes an important part of Leonard Hofstadter's complex relationship. Priya is not simply a love interest, but also a test, forcing Leonard to see more clearly the difference between what he desires and what he can truly hold on to. As of 2026, Artie Mann is still recognized for her consistent acting career, continuing to appear in numerous television projects, while maintaining her unique style through natural and nuanced performances. And that's the journey of the cast of The Big Bang Theory. The people who transformed the world of brilliant scientists, unique personalities, and countless everyday moments into an unforgettable part of the audience's memories. Even as time passes and each actor has gone their separate ways, the laughter, friendship, and emotions they left behind will always remain, like a familiar place to return to whenever we need a little warmth amidst the hustle and bustle of life. If you also felt a connection with this series, or want to continue exploring the stories behind the screen, please like and subscribe to support the channel, because there are still many interesting stories waiting to be told.